Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Spencer.
I'm Mike.
And this is the Board Game Rundown, and today we're going to talk about Looot. I think. Gigamic games. We got this at the Hachette booth at Gen Con. Bob purchased this. We sat down and demoed it. It was taught to us by a French gentleman who was very cutthroat.
Very cutthroat.
But he did call these wonderful little Vikings. So if you hear us say that, there's a little point of context for you. But in Loot, we are Vikings that are looting, far off shores. And so like any good arrival at a shore, you must start in the space close to the water, and you are going to place one of your Vikings on a tile. The amazing thing is you're going to get the resource from that tile and you're going to place it on your own player board. Anywhere you want. There are goals that you will have on your player board, and you can add more. And so that might sort of influence like where you want to place them. Like this guy over here needs a sheep, so I'm going to put a sheep there. Now, Mike would get to go, and the only rule for his worker placement is that he must be touching another Viking that is already on the board.
Or water space.
Or water space, correct. But as you get in later, right, as they start to snake in, and there you go. Now you get some axes because that's that guy. You put it on his player board, and you're going to basically go until somebody runs out of Vikings. There are some unique player powers, I shouldn't say unique player powers. Everybody has 3 special actions that they can do. They're all the same. It's just you do them one time, and you can choose when to use them. And we will be trying to gain these extra huts, and there's towers and castles that you can get. Like to get towers, you need to connect them with your own run of guys, and you need to have at least 4 strength touching a castle to get a castle.
Yep. But you also can get a longboat at the end of your turn.
Yes. So there are the longboats, which are those additional goals that you can then grab and add to your board, and then you draw one from the bag and refill it. So that's basically the game in a nutshell. There are also axes down here. At any time you meet the requirement, you can choose to take one, but you only have a space for one. So choose wisely and don't wait too long. Other than that, I mean, that's the very quick and dirty
rundown,
on how you play
All of those
Loot.
scoring tiles flip when they're surrounded by the required resources.
And if you don't finish it by the end of the game, they're negative 5 points. So you can't just take
Yes.
them willy-nilly.
Well, the
sure
extra
you can
ones,
complete them.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
the
long
ones you
boats.
cannot finish, yep.
Yep. All right, that is Loot. Let's talk about it. Spencer,
Yeah.
what do you think of Loot?
I enjoyed Loot. I especially liked it's got your own little personal puzzle here that you are kind of you're making it harder for yourself because you want the most points. So I'm looking at those longboats and going, well, I bet I can make that sheep and that one here, and they'll meet here. And then if I just get this gold piece, and then I can make maximizing your space as much as possible, but risking getting that negative 5 points. The only problem I had was at the end of the game. There's just so many different places you can go. It's kind of hard to prevent someone from getting the last few pieces that they need unless they really didn't plan it out.
Yeah, so stop being such a hateful person and just play your game.
Just play your game. Build your board optimally.
No. Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the game, you really want to make certain that you have made a strategy, because at the bottom of every single one of those longboats, it tells you what score it's going to improve. So if I have a bunch of towers, I want to be grabbing the tower ones because that's going to make all my towers worth more points. And so that was a really good strategy for the times I played. I enjoyed it. I really like little puzzle games. There are a little bit of cutthroat, like when you're trying to get towers, you're connecting them, and then you can get cut off, or someone didn't see another person just get enough to grab a castle and just boom. Or
Sometimes that happens.
yeah, it happens, and I like those little interactions, the surprise upsets and things like that.
Yeah, to quote our teacher, too bad.
Too bad.
Mike, what'd you think of Loot?
I really enjoy this game. So there's not just one puzzle that you're working on, it's 2 puzzles simultaneously. Because first you got this main board puzzle, and as more Vikings go out, it changes where you're able to place things. And you're trying to connect towers to gain those, or surround castles to gain those. And as you're building your path out, you're kind of seeing, okay, well, if I want to get to this castle and nobody interrupts me, then I may be able to get 3 trees here. So maybe I grab longboats that give me points for trees. So you're working this puzzle, but you're also working a spatial puzzle on your board where you're trying to put scoring tiles next to each other that require the same thing, like 2 different ones that need a tree next to it. So one tree may flip both of those, and so you get these really satisfying combos in this game where I just gained a castle plus 2 towers plus this hut plus the sheep. Now I'm going to put all 4 or 5 of those tiles on my board at the same time, flip 3 scoring tiles at once. You lead up to these epic, satisfying, combolicious turns that feel so good, and yet it's so easy to learn this game. This game has a super high CPR, which I'm coining crunch per rule ratio. Ooh. It is so easy to learn and play this game, but there's a lot to think about. Place your Viking, and then you may gain 5 buildings, and you got to figure out where every single one of those things got to go to maximize your scoring tiles. I love this game. It is fantastic.
CPRR. Because you have rules ratio.
Yeah.
You just got to capitalize the
CPR
R.
squared.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Okay, let's go on the bot.
Anyways. But Mike's right. Oh, gosh darn it. Can we cut that? But no, this is a great game. This is one of the first games that, like, Tim and I sat down and actually did, like, a full demo playthrough of. We really liked it, and they're like, oh, but it's sold out today. I was like, okay, no problem. I knew that was the first thing I was going to go get in line for because Hashtag does a good job of stretching out their games where they don't sell them all in one day. They'll do some each day so everybody gets more of a chance to get them because you might not realize that they've got some good hotness on their table until you actually sit down and play it. It does say 2/4 on the box, so it looks like it says 2 or 4, but according to the French, there's no problem in France. In America, that looks like 2 or 4, but it does play 2, 3, or 4 players. And yeah, like Mike is saying, just this literally in your turn, all you're doing is you're taking one dude, you're putting him either adjacent to another Viking somewhere or adjacent to the water. You're gonna grab that resource, and then anything else might be and then you're doing the spatial puzzle on your own board. And like I just love that whole like, well, this one needs a tree and this one needs a gold, and that's gonna leave me an open spot there. So I take this long ship that's got the tree and the gold on it, and all I have to do is get one more thing. And then if I grab another longboat that takes that other thing too, then that's 2/3 of the way done already. And you're just compiling all that on and making all of your stuff worth a ton more points. It's like, oh, normally my sheep are only worth 1 point, but I've got so many bonus tiles that every one of these sheep on here are now like 5 or 6 points, and you can just, that's a legitimate strategy, is just fill your board up with sheep and just grab all the sheep bonus longboats. And
by the time you finish with your little puzzle, it's your turn again.
Yeah, exactly. And then like having the 3 special abilities, because like Spencer's saying, somebody might be trying to block you from getting to a tower or getting to that castle, but you've got an ability that will let you put a guy where there's already a guy, so that way you're not always completely cut off from trying to do what you want to do. There's one of your bonus actions is you can play an additional person right after you place a person, so you can do 2 in a row, which gets you that last step before someone gets a chance to interrupt you. And it comes with this nice little bag for your boats, which is super nice. Like, I was just really impressed with this game. Like, from when we sat down and started playing it, and everything there, everybody I've taught has enjoyed it. Even taught to a bunch of people who don't typically play a lot of board games, and this guy was like, I don't understand. He beat us all. He had 102 points to my 75 or whatever it was, 91. Still, it's just like, it's just great. It's just the barrier to entry is super low. It's not a very expensive kind of game. It's once it gets into the States, you'll be able to get it a lot easier. But I think he said this was the first time it was available for purchase in the States. Okay. So it might take a little bit of time, but get to your local game stores. I'm sure they'll be able to
ask them for it.
Yeah,
just ask them
for
to order it,
and they'll be able to get it because it was a lot of fun.
You want to see good games in your game store? Ask them.
Yep.
Talk to them about it because that's how they're going to find out. I'll just put that out there right there. There's your unsolicited advice for the day. Loot is really good. I have very little negative to say about it. I love the quick actions. Again, the simplicity of the actions, yet the importance of all of the choices. And again, not just here, because here I have player interaction.
Right. So it's not just solo. Yeah.
Here it is just me trying to make my best, board that I can, which means I'll lose. But here there's player interaction. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. You're constantly watching to see where people are placing and what they're going for, because that might affect on what you're going to try to do and like how you're going to go about meeting the goals that you have set for yourself over here on your board. And it's just really well done. I love a game that is so easy to teach, and you can teach anybody very quickly. And then it is still very satisfying to play. So that's double whammy. That CPRR is maybe my favorite barometer to rate a game on sometimes. Not to say that a Lacerda isn't worth it, but you're putting a lot of time in up front, and everybody needs to be committed. I can play this guy without all that commitment, without all the planning. You go to a game night. Oh, hey, what do we want to play? I don't know. I don't want anything too hard. Boom, loot. And you're still going to get all the interesting choices that you would get out of a heavier game without all the rules overhead and the burden of teaching and people's eyes just glazing over. Because it's like, look, you put your guy here, you get a thing. Now, while you decide where to put that on your board, I'm going to take my action. Super, super easy and straightforward.
It's what, 30, 45 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, our demo was 30 minutes, I think, in the and we played a full game, and he taught 3 people.
Yep.
And it was loud. I mean, that was Thursday of Gen Con. It was packed.
Friday.
Oh, was it Friday?
Oh, no, Thursday we played.
It was Thursday we played it. You
sold
bought
out.
it on Friday. But it was packed. It was way packed. So, I mean, Hachette has an excellent staff, too. They do a really good job of presenting their games. But this one was not all just on how it was presented. It is a damn good game as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess we should rate this. Mike, how do
Tim.
we rate games here at the Board Game Rundown?
We use scores.
Cool.
They go from 0.5 to 10 because we're allowed to use 0.5s. We'll have 4 scores. We'll average those together and give you 1 rundown score.
Sweet. Spencer.
Yeah.
Loot. No, an 8. Right on. I was going to say, no wrong answer.
Yeah.
Mike.
So if French publishers are not on your radar yet, what are you doing?
Yeah. Not paying attention.
Because first for me it was Decrypto by Scorpion Mask. That's my favorite word game. I love that game. And then Acropolis and Turing Machine came out from Hachette. And then Sky Team came out from Hachette, which was my favorite game from last year. This might be my favorite game that's come out this year. I really enjoy this game. So again, if you're not paying attention to the French publishers, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This
Playing
is
crappy games.
This is a 9 for me. This checks all my boxes.
Nice.
Wow.
What do you got, Bobby?
I'm up there, not quite as up there as Mike. I'm an 8.5. I do love this game. It's probably top 5 for me so far this year, pretty easily. Because like I said, I've played it a bunch. I got it a week ago, and I've probably played it 6 times already,
That's
or at least
great.
taught people.
Fantastic.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's a sign of a good game, right?
Yep.
Your price per play.
Price per
you know?
play and plays per crunch or whatever Mike said.
If I something like
Something
that.
like that.
Oh, something like that.
I don't listen to
Crunch
you
per
talk.
cost, something like that. I just want to add Captain Games, another great French publisher.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Path of Civilization was very good this year as well.
Yep.
But yeah, they're killing it.
Loot is an 8 for me as well. It's really good. I really enjoy it. I could see it getting bogged down if you've got AP prone players, but hopefully you can gently encourage them
Right. At least
to work.
Get their worker down. Do you
Yeah,
want a long
do
ship?
this,
No.
whatever.
Okay. Work on your board while everybody else takes
It
their
helps.
turn.
Yeah.
That's the way to play it.
And it does speed the game up, which
Yeah.
I appreciate.
Yep. So if you take our scores and you average them together, that's an 8.4.
Yeah,
That's pretty solid.
It's very
It's
worthy.
pretty solid.
Very worthy.
Yep.
This is a very solid outing. The presentation's great. The graphic design is really nice. The Viking meeples are fun. The Veeples.
The Veeples. Nice.
It's
I like that.
it's good.
It'll
It's really
also, I
good.
know, like we were trying to make sure we pronounce Gigamic correctly, but to me, Gigamic sounds much cooler.
Gigamic.
Yeah, you said it wrong
I said
when
it
you said
wrong.
you were trying to pronounce it correctly.
Sure, well, trying. So that's why I say go all in on the incorrect pronouncing and Gigamic.
I knew it was a French publisher, and I just assumed everybody was pronouncing it wrong. So I
Yeah.
looked it up. They have their own YouTube channel, and they have a video specifically that shows you how to pronounce
it.
the name.
Because for us Americans, yes.
Yeah,
'cause
for
mine-
us.
Yeah, I'm bad at it.
That's fine. That's fine. I will live well playing their games. They're getting our money. They'll be
Yeah.
fine.
However, sorry about that silver in basketball.
Oh,
Wow, gotta go there.
all right. So for the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
Bob.
Spencer.
I was meek.
We'll see you next time.
And you can say the title's only 3 words.